Hello, is that the Atheist takeaway? Cool. Hail Satan to you too, mate. I'd like to put an order in for delivery. Pay the guy when he gets here as usual. Usual address. Right, excellent. I'd like a pint of Virgin's blood, 2 pickle babies, and have you got any of those crispy Christian fingers? Excellent. About half a dozen of those, please. Okay, about 15 minutes. Excellent. Right. Okay. Well, that's fine because I've got to go and corrupt some souls for Satan right now. Okay. Okay. See you then. Bye. I'm this close to being a Christian. You've worn me down with the power of your superior arguments. You've broken me. I'm this close. There's only one thing left. That's all you've got to do, and then I'm there. I'm thumping that book with the rest of you. Hallelujah. I've been practicing. Hallelujah. Sounds good. All that you have to do to save this soul is to sell me heaven. It's rather like a house purchase, I think. Whoever bought a house without knowing anything about it? I need some detail. I haven't even heard Venom Fang X say that the streets are paved with gold in heaven. I haven't heard any Christian tell me there's even a pavement. I haven't heard them tell me there's a field, a single tree. How do trees get into heaven? I want to know about the facilities, basically. I'm thinking of this as a buying a house proposition. I want to know what facilities there are, amenities, view, location, location, location. Sell it to me. God damn you, sell it to me. Will I be allowed to wank? Will we have penises in heaven? I mean, I'd miss it. I really would. It's one of the bright points of my day. If we don't have bodies, there's no asses for me to look at. There's no asses for me to touch, to bite. So what is there? Describe for me a day in heaven. Breakfast followed by 12 hours of kneeling before the robed glowy one? Can't I just have a nap instead? Now the Muslims seem to have a fairly good description of heaven. You know, rivers of wine. I mean, isn't that rather like having pornography in the Christian heaven? You know, that which you're not allowed to have in life, suddenly you're allowed to have in heaven with God's blessing. Maybe there are two gods, the Christian God and the Muslim God, but at least there'll be no holy wars, because all the Muslims will be too pissed. What's on TV? Do they have cable? The manna in heaven. Where does it grow? Upon what does it grow? What do we eat it with? You can't seriously be telling me that you think you have a body in heaven. Are there public toilets? Or do we just, what, crap into a cloud? That might explain why so much shit lands on Earth. So come on, one of you big Christians out there, you come here and you sell me heaven. You all talk about going to heaven, but you never describe it. And I suspect you never describe it for two reasons. Either you've not thought about it, or you have thought about it and you realise that to actually let that description out of your mouth will make you the target of mockery. I'm not ashamed of any ideas I've got. Why are you ashamed of yours? Let's hear your ideas about what's in heaven. There's this really nice house, and if you don't do any one of these 17,000 things, you'll get in. Get into what? And if you haven't got an answer, you haven't got a reason. All you've got is the desire to persist in existing. What are the challenges in heaven? Can we play sports? What about jokes? Does Jesus allow jokes in heaven? Because an awful lot of the jokes I like are a little risque. Could I tell Jesus some jokes? Will Jesus tell me some jokes? Is there any laughter at all in heaven? What's funny in heaven? If Jesus is walking down the street and he slips on a banana, am I allowed to laugh, or will that be straight down the escalator to the hot plate? I mean, once you get into heaven, can you be evicted? No guitars, no fruit, no trees, no jokes. I'm assuming that there'll be no naughtiness whatsoever. I'm finding it hard to imagine anything that heaven could have that I would want. God damn you, sell it to me. You have the great pleasure of dropping to your knees in servitude every time the glowing one walks past. The guy with the beard's really cool, isn't he? That doesn't strike me as much of a day. No flirting. There won't even be conversation. Because if there's conversation, that means that time must pass. For me to say hello, there needs to be time for me to go huh, eh, and oh. But if time passes in heaven, then it's gonna drag. Eternity, dude. To not be free to die, with nowhere to walk and no legs to walk with. You can't have a body. There won't be atoms. I see it as being hooked up to a heroin drip. And I ain't gonna live my life trying to save up enough brownie points with the bearded git to try and get into a place that I don't want to get into in the first place. God damn you, sell it to me. Do we all just float around God's magnificence like fireflies? Jesus wants me for a sunbeam. I don't want to be a fucking sunbeam. I want to look at the sunbeam. And there can't be sunbeams in heaven, because there can't be sun. There can't be light. Where's the light come from in heaven? You see, the thing is, we may not be able to tell you what caused the universe or how abiogenesis works, but we can bloody well tell you what light is. We know exactly what light is. Electromagnetic radiation, photons emitted by atoms when electrons change their energy states. So if you're going to tell me that the glow of God fills up heaven, then God is considerably hotter than hell was ever described. And you won't have eyes to see it. And one of the greatest pleasures in my life has been finding things out. Parting the clouds. Seeing through the fog. What am I going to learn in heaven? What can I explore? What can I resolve? I'd love to live for several hundred, maybe even a few thousand. But if it's a choice between sticking with what nature has given us, and let's face it, nature could have given us just 10 years. You know, there are plenty of organisms which don't live as long as mankind. Plenty. We could have a higher heart rate and we could drop dead at 10 years old. But we've got more than that. It's not enough, really, for me. But at the same time, if it was a choice between forever being a firefly for God, I'd prefer to stand, limp, hobble, be in a wheelchair for a standard human lifetime, rather than be some bit of rhinestone on the robe of a bearded God who made me with no effort whatsoever. Actually, he rested on the seventh day. Why did he rest? Why did he rest? He's supposed to be omnipotent. When you ask us questions, you've got: how did life begin? What created the universe? You've got 2 fucking questions. Oh, sorry, morality. We can't answer them with demonstrable certainty. But we've got about, at a rough guess, 473 million questions we could ask you, and you haven't got an answer for one. Paradise exists, and it's at various places on this world. Everything that you would want in heaven is here. And the price of admission is that one day the lights go out, but you go to a movie and you're quite content to pay a few dollars to watch a movie, knowing that the end credits will roll after only a few hours. And here, with a little luck, the end credits don't roll for 80 or more years. And judging from the things I've seen in life, it's quite possible that by the time the end credits actually roll, you'll be sound asleep and you'll never know. And you're going to live your life afraid of that